Hey guys, what is up? It's Rob here coming at you with the Tuesday nightly watch list. I did miss putting out a watch list yesterday for Monday, so I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, the Kia boys did strike my girlfriend's Kia, so that did put a wrench in for the plans last night, so we had to end up dealing with that. But, right, back to the grind, staying locked in, and here we're going to hit you with the Tuesday watch list. So let's get into it. First things first was that rare earth mineral plays took a big hit today. And that was because there was this, or at least what I'm going to call it, is a China cool-off, where basically the Trump administration, right, was downplaying everything with China. And, they actually said, don't expect China rare earths to go into effect. Now, I wouldn't really take that for face value, right? That's just the administration coming in and trying to cool down fear in the markets. But as we know, that Trump, imposed 100% tariff starting November 1st on China, right? Because of their rare earth export limits / ban. So with this headline coming out today, right, the Trump administration was trying to cool everything down. So you saw a lot of the popular tickers everyone's trying to trade right now take a big hit, such as CRML, right? That was a big one today. That got a haircut. And also look at MP, USAR, LAR, and WWR. So I want everyone just to be on the lookout, right? You're going to see a lot of whipsawing around, a lot of volatility, because you do have that November 1st meeting coming up. So, right, things could get resolved beforehand. Maybe they don't. To be determined, but definitely keep your eyes out for a lot of China news, right? Rhetoric coming out, and definitely the rare earth mineral plays. Also, what I want to share with you guys was, right, it's a development into all of this, and this actually came out yesterday, right before the market was about to close. But Trump actually said that he's going to terminate business with China with their cooking oil. So basically what it means is it has to do with the trade. So he's saying, you know what, we don't need to buy any China cooking oil, right? We can do that all here in the U.S. So that was part of his backfire, because China stopped buying soybeans from U.S. farmers. So he said, okay, well, you know what, we're going to stop buying China cooking oil. So that news dropped actually around the market close yesterday. And the tickers I want you guys to watch out for is COOT and SDOT. Now, these names already did have a big move up today, right, after that news got released yesterday. But, nonetheless, look out for food plays, right, agricultural stuff. I don't think this, will develop. I think this was just a one-off. Trump hit back with the U.S. soybeans. But all in all, right, this is just another development in the U.S., China, trade relations and everything going on with tariffs. So keep this in mind, right? That was Trump's most recent move on all of this. And then we also had Besant, and he came out today, and he said that the stock market will not affect negotiations with China. So basically what, that's kind of implying is that, of course, the administration watches market moves. Okay, right? When the market starts freaking out, they tend to, put out press releases and talk about, things going on. Just like I was telling you today, right? With the rare earth mineral plays, they came out today and were trying to cool everything down. And they said, hey, maybe, China won't go into effect. Maybe they won't put a ban or export limit on the rare earths. So they try to cool everything down. So like they said today, he said stock market won't affect negotiations with China. So basically what he's saying is, well, just because, the stock market starts going down, our individual names means, we're not going to change our stance. We're going to have to do what's best for the U.S., right? And what we think is best. So, that was definitely a headline that did shock some people. They're like, okay, well, they're going to stay pretty firm on things here. So if the market starts to get a little rattly, don't expect them to give a bailout, right? Or give up with their efforts on China. So, right, something to keep an eye out on for there. And then spot gold continues its rally. I mean, it was up nearly 1% to hit a record high of around $4,200 an ounce. And right, there's a lot of price targets getting thrown out there around gold hitting $5,000 an ounce. So, all right, obviously, if you want to play gold or buy gold, I always tell people to do it with physical gold. But if you want to play it in the market, right, there is an ETF, GLD, that you can use as like a pseudo gold investment, right? So GLD is definitely the one. And, gold continues to rally. And, beforehand, a lot of it had to do with this debasement trade around, countries, trying not to rely so much on the dollar. So then you see a lot of money going into gold. And then, it's been pumping a lot too recently because, right, it's kind of a safe haven asset. So you see the U.S. government shutdown, U.S.-China trade relations getting, soured right now. So, gold has definitely been on the forefront here for, a lot of different reasons. But it continues its rally, and I want everyone to pay attention to this because, right, at any time, gold could take a big turn down. So definitely, keep your eye out on gold. Also, AI news, of course, right, seems to be, I'm always saying something big with AI on the watch list, and I mean, that's just to be known, right? It's a big topic. And today, right, BlackRock and Nvidia striked a deal, right, worth $40 billion to take over one of the world's largest data center operators. Now, this wasn't a name that you could play in the public markets, right? Any specific tickers, right? Bull, bear, in the options change, right? Or with an ETF. But, right, it is a headline in the AI, and it's something to, keep your eye on because it tells you how, the AI bubble and all of that is still playing out. You're still seeing, boom, a lot of activity. BlackRock and Nvidia strikes a $40 billion takeover, right, to, handle data centers. So, big headline, right, with AI. And then, right, we're having earnings. And obviously the focus is on financials this week, but we had Dollar General pre-market, and they actually popped 10% because their stock surged on their earnings report, and management raised their outlook. And I'm trying to think, what did they say? It was like double-digit EPS growth for like years. So management came out and, we say our earnings per share and our earnings to be like 10% growth for like years to come. And so the stock popped up a lot. But Dollar General was actually one of those names that got pretty beat up. So I can put a chart on the screen here for you. And, you'll see, like, this name was a laggard. I mean, it was, in the trenches. It was beaten up. So, any good news that comes out of Dollar General now really, can send the stock going up. And this earnings report is just another example of them, starting to turn the tide, right, on the company. So, nonetheless, I wanted to share that because it was a non-financial earnings. And, right, with the market, we've just been seeing the banks killing it on their, earnings reports. And a lot of that has to do with trade-in revenue, right, increase in all these banks' quarterly earnings, right? All of them are killing it on the trade-in revenue. But, I mean, you're seeing Bank of America stock up 5%, JP Morgan, all these names going crazy, all the bank stocks. So banks are having a great quarter. They're seeing, all-time high earnings based in certain segments. So I just wanted to share the Dollar General, right, because it was a non-financial name, right, something to keep your eye out on. Also, this news I'm about to share with you did come out yesterday, but I wanted to circulate it because I think, it's important. I mean, you can't really play it right now. It already ran up, so I don't want everybody thinking, oh, hey, this is one of those news headlines I can play. But it was Walmart, and they actually teamed up with ChatGPT to integrate instant checkout in ChatGPT. So say if you go in ChatGPT and you say, hey, I want to make a recipe to make soup tonight. I don't know why I said that, but just random thing. Well, right, ChatGPT will give you the recommendations, and then you'll be able to check out instantly with Walmart. So this news came out yesterday, and it actually continued to run today, and it sent Walmart to all-time highs. So, well, why am I still bringing this up, right? If it's already, the news is circulated, the stock's already popped. Well, it's because I want you guys to watch out for artificial intelligence integration news, right? We've already saw, like, what was it, last week when I was talking to Watchlist about how ChatGPT, teamed up with Shopify, and I think it was Etsy, and it sent those stocks soaring. And that was one of the first, integration news you saw, right, with ChatGPT. And I already saw yesterday a huge company, Walmart, right, getting in on the game. So you're seeing these names fly, right, with ChatGPT integration headlines. So keep your eyes peeled, right? for any other companies that could potentially, come out and say, hey, we're teaming up with ChatGPT to sell our products, because you're going to see these names fly. I mean, it just sent Walmart up to all-time highs and moved that stock, almost 5-6% in the day, which is a huge move for Walmart. So there's that. Keep your eyes open for AI integration news. And then also, right, I've been telling everyone there's a bubble in AI. You're seeing quantum bubble. You're seeing nuclear going crazy, right? You're seeing rare earths, minerals, critical minerals going crazy. Well, right, big news out of nuclear. Well, the U.S. Army actually plans to power bases with small nuclear reactors by 2028. So these reactors will be owned and operated by commercial companies, so right, not by the U.S. government, right, private companies. And the Army and the Energy Department will actually help with the technical aspects and uranium supply. So the tickers I want you guys to watch out for is UU, quadruple U, right, that's the first ticker. SMR and OKLO, OKLO. Those are the big nuclear names, right, to, everyone's trading. And here you are again, right? You got a big headline saying the U.S. Army plans to power bases with nuclear reactors. So, big headline for the industry. So keep your eyes out peels for those names. Also, we had Louis Vuitton. They soared 13% in Paris, right, after posting strong sales growth. And this was primarily due to demand in China. So the U.S. ticker symbol, right, is LVMH. So, right, what I want you guys to keep your eyes peeled out for, right, was Estee Lauder, EL, and also Nike, NKE. Okay, because if you're seeing huge China demand, right, for luxury products, well, all right, let's get some sympathy plays. And what I mean by that is, well, if you see one name pop, right, based on something else can also run, right? So a sympathy play could be EL, right, Estee Lauder, or also Nike. So, guys, that's everything I have for you on tonight's watch list, right? Individual names that are moving up and down. And also, I talked a little bit about, what's going on with China relations, with the rare earth minerals. And, Trump hit back because he says we're not going to buy any China cooking oil because they're not buying U.S. farmer soybeans, right? So, once again, right, President Xi of China and President Trump are still planning to meet at the end of the month, right? This isn't canceled. So be on the watch for headlines, right, of anything coming into that meeting, because both of them are going to set up, a framework for negotiations coming to this. So you're going to see a lot of things happening where maybe they could try to, give each other some wiggle room. So headlines are coming out. All right, guys, stay locked in, okay? And I'll see you guys on the next watch list. Peace.